All that shortly, but first, meet Tanmay Bakshi, the tech extraordinaire and a self-taught champion of artificial intelligence who is now creating ripples across the world with his outstanding abilities. The 14-year-old computer programmer has developed multiple apps, published a book, hosted a TED Talk and caught the attention of IBM at the tender age of 11. Tanmay, the son of a computer programmer, began by learning how to code. At age 8, Bakshi taught himself how to develop iOS apps, and by 9, his very first app was accepted into the Apple Store. But soon Tanmay lost interest in programming. It was at 11 that the child prodigy stumbled across a documentary on the question-answering machine. IBM Watson. It was this moment that proved to be his turning point as it roused Tanmay's interest in artificial intelligence. Tanmay's work deals with the neural network, a computer system modeled on the human brain and the nervous system. A pundit of artificial intelligence, Tanmay has strongly advocated the endless possibilities of artificial intelligence in terms of healthcare, self-driving cars and agriculture. And he is all of 14 years old. My colleague Akanksha Swaroop spoke with the child prodigy earlier in the day. Take a listen in.
And I'm joined by 14-year-old Tanmay Bakshi, a computer programmer and an artificial intelligence expert. Though he first caught IBM's attention when he was just 11 years old, his rise in technology began much earlier. He's now joining us live from Canada. Tanmay, welcome to WION. While your peers were stacking Lego, you were probably learning how to code. What sparked your interest in technology and how young were you?
Sure. So originally, I actually started coding when I was 5 years old. And the reason I started coding was actually because my dad used to work as a computer programmer. Now, as you can imagine, as a 5-year-old, watching my dad program almost all day was so fascinating for me, right? I'd see my name being put on screen. I'd see really anything related to technology, and it would be like magic. Right? Because at 5 years old, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I wanted to find out. I had that curiosity, and my dad saw that curiosity. And so what he did is he introduced me to the world of programming computers with really simple languages like Fox Pro and Batch. But really my curiosity just kept growing.
Tanmay, what was that turning point that forayed you into artificial intelligence?
Sure. Now, if you think about it, once I created my very first iOS application at 9 years old, of course, I kept developing iOS apps, I kept using technology, but around 10 years old, I started to get kind of bored. Right? I'd say, technology is so repetitive, it's so literal. The moment you code something in, it immediately starts becoming obsolete. It immediately starts turning old. It can't adapt to new data or information or new interactions. And so I kind of found technology boring in a way. I sort of lost faith in it. But then when I was 11 years old, though, luckily, that all changed. Because what happened is I actually stumbled upon a documentary on how IBM Watson not only played, but also won the Jeopardy game show in 2011 against the two best human competitors on the game show. Again, 11 years old, this is very fascinating for me, and so I'm immediately hooked to artificial intelligence development.
Tanmay, what kind of roles would you like to provide for AI in the coming future? There's healthcare, agriculture, even self-driving cars. What is your take on artificial intelligence and its application in the future?
Let's take a look at agriculture. Now, IBM Watson actually has an application where an artificial intelligence algorithm will help you optimize when. Remember, this is just when you water your plants. And what happens is you get to spend less water, and yet at the same time, because of the extra efficiency, you get more yield at the same time. And so using the power of AI, you can look at all these complex relationships and say, all right, this is the most efficient watering schedule possible because the computer has that intense mathematical capability. If we were to go up a little bit more, make it a little bit more advanced, this one doesn't sound as, I guess you could say, impactful at first. But when you really think about it, this is something that can change the sort of landscape of all sorts of countries, and especially if you take a look at a country like India. And this is self-driving cars. right? Like, for example, if you take a look at the Tesla self-driving car, we know that the traffic problem in India is quite bad. And so through self-driving cars, we can not only solve the traffic problem, we can make sure that, first of all, there are hardly, if any, traffic jams on the roads. We can make sure that pollution is cut down by so much, at least more than 50%, I'd say, because we don't have all these cars just idling on a highway doing nothing. We can also reduce accidents, reduce the number of people with injuries. And all this is because the self-driving cars have an almost instant, microsecond level reaction time in which they can do and make decisions on whatever they need to do. But the field where I believe it's making the most impact, the biggest impact, and this is where I'm getting to the biggest one, is the field of healthcare. And the reason I say this is because of the fact that, again, AI has the intense computational ability, mathematical ability that we humans lack. But computers lack our intelligence. Through AI, we can combine that.
Tanmay, you're a homeschooled child. What is it that prompted your parents to take this decision?
Sure. Now, really, I mean, of course, the reason I'm homeschooled, the reason that I'd say, of course, that my parents actually took the decision to homeschool me is really because, I mean, of course, I love technology. And what I'd like to do is, of course, and this is very important, to continue learning, of course, all these regular school subjects that I do learn in school. But at the same time, I want to give a little bit more focus towards the technology aspect and learning about these really interesting technologies like AI, and really give more of a focus on the STEM and STEAM way, sort of the science, the technology, the engineering, the arts, and the mathematics. Because again, if you think about it, even AI, what is AI? It's a combination of art, how can you actually design artificial neural networks? It's a combination of the technology, the science behind biological neural networks, and the mathematics converting that to artificial neural networks. And so really it's a good combination of all of these, and because I really had that passion for technology and I wanted to get deeper into these fields while at the same time learning of all the other fields, it was the right decision to homeschool me. In fact, it actually took my parents a few years to finally decide whether or not to homeschool me. And so, of course, the decision is really up to, of course, your parents, what you're very interested in, what you love to do, what your passion is. And really, I'd say that, of course, schools themselves aren't passé just yet. No. I wouldn't say that. But homeschooling is the right decision for some people who really want to get into sort of more targeted field.
And last but not the least, Tanmay, you have Indian roots. What is it that you love about India?
Well, actually, quite a few things. I mean, first of all, the people in India, of course, are great. I love the people in India. It's an absolutely great experience. The weather is great. I love the weather there. The food in India is great. In fact, my favorite food is actually butter chicken, and my favorite fruit is mango. And so it's absolutely perfect when I come there in the summer. And also, my grandparents and cousin actually live in India as well, and so that's very fun. So generally, all around, the experience in India is absolutely great, and I love coming there for all sorts of things like events, and it's really fun.